We're live on YouTube. It's on crooked. No, the other way. Yeah, and yeah, that's good. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
All right. It's great to see everyone again.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, it's been a long time I've seen some of you folks.
I know. 6 months at least.
At least.
Hi, Richard.
Hello, how's everyone?
Good.
So welcome everyone. This is great to see so many faces in one spot. This is just a virtual pre-event reception, so we welcome you to the reception here this evening. I wish we could have cocktails and drinks and everything free-flowing, but unfortunately that is not the case. We are in a pandemic still, so we are doing things relatively safe here. So we are very glad to welcome you to our commemoration ceremony this evening. This is probably one of the first times a commemoration ceremony has ever, I think, been hosted on a virtual platform like this. So right off the top, Superintendent Raymond Chow, please.
Hello, I'm Raymond Chow, the Superintendent of the Cadet Division, 389C out in Burnaby.
Hi everyone, I'm Farhang and I'm the Emergency Response Coordinator for Division 304 Burnaby. It's very great to see everybody here.
Mr. Lowe.
I'm the NCO Development Officer at 389 Burnaby.
Hi, everyone. I am actually the recently promoted Area Admin Officer for Lower Mainland Fraser Valley, but I'm also Acting Superintendent for Burnaby until Farhang transitions.
And we want to also take this opportunity to congratulate Ms. Framand on that promotion recently taken place. Congratulations.
And Farhang.
And of course, Farhang. Yeah, that's right.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Catherine Yuen with the Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office. Nice to meet you, and I'm a friend of St. John's Ambulance.
Hi, I'm a Logistic Officer with Division 304, Burnaby.
Good evening, everyone. My apologies for not being in dress uniform. I just got in the door from doing some volunteering. Good to see everybody. I recognize some faces from last time. Congratulations on the promotions. And I'm looking forward to this evening. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Lower Mainland Area Commissioner.
Hello, Martin Urbanowski. Absolute honor and pleasure to be here. I'm the Provincial Staff Officer for Communications, coming out of hiatus to record and promote this event.
Hello, everyone. My name is Queenie Choo. I'm CEO of Success Foundation. But also, I as the Honorary Captain of Royal Canadian Navy and affiliated with HMCS Vancouver.
Hi, my name is Corporal Jaylee and I am from Division 389C Burnaby.
Hi, my name is Lauren Ma and I'm from Division 389 in Burnaby.
Hi, I'm Corporal Leo Young from Division 1304, New Westminster.
Hi everyone. Up until the end of August, I was Division 998 CSC and DDS, so that was UBC's division. But as of right now, I am day 2 into my new position as the Area Compliance and Awards Officer.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Leticia Sánchez, I'm the president of the Vancouver Asian Heritage Month Society. I'm a friend of Richard, and I can see lots of friends here. Thank you for inviting me.
Hi, I'm the Community Service Coordinator of Burnaby Division 389.
Hi, I'm Sarah Butler. I'm from the Burnaby Division 389, and I'm a corporal.
And I'm Charlotte Butler, and I'm from Burnaby Division 389.
I am Randall Bud Wong, the president of the Chinese Canadian Military Museum, and I'm pleased to be here tonight.
I see Winnie Cheung from PCHC.
Hello, I'm Winnie Cheung. It's a great honor to be here, and good evening to all of you.
Hi everyone, I'm Corporal Anna. I'm from the 389C Burnaby Division.
Hi, I'm Doris Lynn. I'm a provisional officer at 389 Burnaby Division.
Hi, good day everyone. Ian Billy on Special Training 389. I was with 998. I was a DTO there for a long time. That was a long time ago. Really happy to be here tonight.
Deborah Reesley, Peggy Lee's daughter. Sorry, I was just fooling around with the Zoom, so sorry. Anyways, I'm just here on behalf of my mother, Peggy Lee, and I'm very, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's great to welcome you. Yes.
Hi, everyone. I should introduce myself. I'm from Division 389. I'm the training officer of the Cadet Division.
My name is Rita from 304. I'm the recruitment officer.
Hi, everyone. Karah Goshinmon Foster from the Nikkei National Museum and Cultural Center, where it is our mission to honor, preserve, and share Japanese culture and Japanese Canadian history and heritage for a better Canada. Very honored to be with you today. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Hi there, I'm from Division 304, volunteer.
You're welcome, Melanie. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ada. I'm just very interested to see all the events of tonight. Thanks very much.
Ken Swain.
Welcome. Thank you for the invitation. The Divisional Superintendent here in Nanaimo 315.
Hi, folks. How are you? Thank you, Richard, for setting everything up here. Alfred Wu. I'm a member of Pacific Unit 280, Army and Air Force Veterans in Canada. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfred.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm on the board with the Chinese Canadian Military Museum.
Just trying to read the name here. Who's Grooky Kid? If you just look at your screen and give me a smile. Okay, and 3, 2, 1.
Scene changes to the battleship Missouri. This great ship provided the stage for the end of the drama and the final curtain. MacArthur, coming aboard, is greeted by Admiral Nimitz. The pictures that follow show the highlights of the formal surrender ceremony, the whole of which lasted only about 20 minutes. First, the arrival of the Japanese empowered to sign. The one-legged Shigemitsu, Japan's foreign minister, togged up as he thought appropriately for the occasion, hobbled to the table. General Umeju was to sign on behalf of the General Staff. General Douglas MacArthur, showing little signs of what he must have been feeling, opened the proceedings.
We are gathered here, representatives of the major warring powers, to conclude a solemn agreement whereby peace may be restored. It is my earnest hope, and indeed the hope of all mankind, that from this solemn occasion a better world shall emerge out of the blood and carnage of the past. A world founded upon faith and understanding. A world dedicated to the dignity of man and the fulfillment of his most cherished wish for freedom, tolerance, and justice. I now invite the representatives of the Emperor of Japan and the Japanese government and the Japanese Imperial General Headquarters to sign the instrument of surrender at the places indicated.
Shigemitsu was the first to sign Japan's unconditional surrender. All of us who watch this historic picture would do well to remember that although these signatures have brought peace now, they do not guarantee it forever. The maintenance of peace will demand our utmost vigilance for long years to come. Umeju followed Shigemitsu.
Will General Wainwright and General Percival step forward and accompany me while I sign?
MacArthur then put his signature to the document using two pens, one of which he handed to General Wainwright, thin and haggard from his captivity. The other he presented to General Percival, a prisoner since Singapore.
General MacArthur signed. Eyewitnesses saw his hands tremble. The Allied nations signed as well, bearing witness to the end of the worst war in human history. World War II finally was over.
Let us pray that peace be now restored to the world and that God will preserve it always. These proceedings are closed.
At that moment, as if on cue, the sun came out, and as the Japanese departed, a stunning aerial display. More than 2,000 Allied aircraft flew in formation over the Missouri.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 75th anniversary of the victory in the Pacific and the end of World War II. My name is Raymond Chow, and I'm the Divisional Superintendent of St. John Ambulance, Cadet Division 389, based in Burnaby. While Japan surrendered unconditionally to the Allies on August 14th, 1945, marking the end of World War II, it wasn't until Japan signed the Instrument of Surrender on September the 2nd, 1945, exactly 75 years ago today, aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay, that World War II officially came to an end. Thank you for joining us this evening to honor and recognize not only the courageous volunteers who served with St. John Ambulance during the war, but to all the contributions of Canadians who made sacrifices here and abroad, lest we forget.
Good evening, everyone. I'd also like to extend a welcome to our family, friends, honored guests, and the volunteers of St. John Ambulance who are able to join us today. My name is Celine Ferment. I'm the Acting Divisional Superintendent for Division 304 Burnaby, the Adult Brigade. Before we begin our ceremony, I invite the officers to keep their headdress on, to remain seated, and to salute during the official opening with the Vice-Regal salute, and during the last post and the Rouse. Please also remember, this is a solemn ceremony, so we ask that you keep your mics muted. Now I'd like to hand it over to our honorary brigade division president, Mr. Liu, to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ferment. As we begin, I would like to first recognize that our division is proudly based here in Burnaby, which is located on the ancestral and unceded homelands of the Ho'okaminam and Squamish-speaking peoples. We are grateful for the opportunity to present the commemoration ceremony on this shared territory tonight. Please note that this ceremony is a virtual hybrid event, so we have made some minor alterations to accommodate this virtual platform in terms of the ceremonial format, while staying true and respectful to tradition. We warmly welcome our many guests present this evening, including our Provincial Commissioner, David Valentine, who you will hear from later this evening. Our members from the Chinese Canadian Military Museum, and President Bud Wong and his fellow members, our St. John Ambulance senior officers and cadets from across Canada, and our PHQ members here. I would also like to acknowledge the efforts and support by the healthcare workers, police, and fire and service providers on the front line, and by the 3 levels of government during this pandemic over these last several months, as well as thank each and every one of them for the continued support of our division and brigade. With COVID-19 still taking hold of our communities across BC and Canada, our Burnaby division saw the need to pivot and create something online, meaningful, and new to engage our SJA members. So with that, please make sure to stay to the very end as we have a visual treat to share. But to start us off, we are very fortunate to have received a very special message from Her Excellency, Julie Payette, the Governor-General of Canada, followed by welcome remarks from Karah MacPherson, CEO of St. John Ambulance, BC Yukon. We are honored to receive a message from Her Excellency, the Governor-General and Commander-in-Chief of Canada, Julie Payette, to be read out this evening. This year marks the 75th anniversary of the end of the Second World War.
Throughout the war, dedication and courage were not limited to those soldiers on the front lines. Here at home and around the world, volunteer paramedics were determined to contribute to care for the wounded and to serve with pride. For more than a century, in times of war and in times of peace, St. John Ambulance has provided essential first aid training, giving people the chance to help those in need. As you gather virtually to pay tribute to our veterans, you are taking this opportunity to honor Mrs. Peggy Lee and Dr. Potin Chak, two volunteer paramedics who served during the Second World War. They are both incredible examples of helping others. They inspire us all. To both of you, I offer my gratitude and that of all Canadians. Thank you for your compassion. I wish every member of St. John Ambulance and everyone watching online the very best as you mark this milestone occasion. Her Excellency, the Right Honourable Julie Payette, Governor-General of Canada.
Hello, everyone. I'm honored and pleased to be part of this event and grateful for each and every one of you for being here with us in our virtual commemoration ceremony. Many thanks to Richard Liu, Raymond Chow, and Céline Fremont for their efforts and dedication in making this event possible. Today, September 2nd, 2020, marks a significant date in our global history. This year's commemoration ceremony observes the 75th anniversary of the Victory in the Pacific Day, which signaled the unconditional surrender of Japan and the formal end of World War II. More than 1 million brave Canadians served during the Second World War, including many of our very own St. John Ambulance volunteers. Our organization has a rich and decorated history of response, aid, and support, and during the war, our volunteers strived hard to embody our mission of saving lives no matter where they were stationed. I am extremely grateful for St. John Ambulance volunteers that serve both on the home front and the front lines, where many worked with the Women's Ambulance Corps, the Volunteer Aid Detachments, and Overseas Nursing Divisions. Their service and impact during the war is immeasurable and continues to inspire all of us today in our work to improve the health, safety, and quality of life in our own communities. Their selfless work is especially inspiring today as the COVID-19 pandemic persists across the globe and our dedicated volunteers strive to make significant impacts in the lives of many. As we remember those who served and dedicated their lives to the safety of their communities during the war, I would also like us to keep in our thoughts those fighting for us in the front lines of this global pandemic. In many ways, this virtual ceremony acknowledges both our past and present and all the ways St. John Ambulance proudly and selflessly serves others to cultivate a brighter future. I'm excited to hear from the honored guests and speakers and eager to see the videos and stories from our St. John Ambulance veterans. Thank you once again to the Burnaby Division and everyone who has supported this virtual commemoration ceremony. So a very warm welcome to everyone. Let us honor our past, thrive in our present, and inspire our future as we commemorate the 75th anniversary. One St. John, lest we forget. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency and Mrs. MacPherson, for those thoughtful messages. I now invite Corporal Jaylee Ma to read John McCrae's poem, In Flanders Fields.
Good evening, everyone. And tonight I'll be reciting the poem In Flanders Fields by John McCrae. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow. Between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow. Loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
We will now present the wreath laying ceremony part of our ceremony. Officers, please remember to salute during the last post and the rouse. Thank you.
A truly moving wreath-laying ceremony by those here and around the world. We will remember them. Now our tributes continue tonight with special messages from 3 levels of government, including a Canadian head of mission in Hong Kong, and 3 Consul-Generals, diplomats who are based here in Vancouver from the UK, France, and the Netherlands. Tonight also includes the storytelling and a virtual tribute of our 2 World War II St. John Ambulance veterans. And during this pandemic, we're all very blessed that Mrs. Peggy Lee and Dr. Potin Chak are both safe, healthy, and happy in their respective care homes.
Hello, Honorary Brigade Division President Richard Liu and friends of St. John's Ambulance Burnaby. Bonjour tout le monde. I bring greetings on behalf of the Senate of Canada. It's indeed my honor to address you at your virtual event commemorating the 75th anniversary of Victory in Pacific Day. Though this is a virtual gathering due to the current public health restrictions, we are united in spirit in honoring the sacrifices made in World War II and commemorating this important day. On this day, September 2nd, 1945, formal surrender documents were signed aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Harbor. Colonel Lawrence M. Cosgrave signed on behalf of Canada, officially ending the Second World War. Some 1.1 million Canadians served in World War II, more than 10,000 who served in the Pacific. As part of the effort were volunteers of St. John's Ambulance. Some served on the home front, such as Emma Lynn, Pat Choo, and Peggy Lee of the Women's Ambulance Corps, an all-Chinese platoon of 20 women. On the front line, future medical surgeon Dr. Po Tin Hak, who was a member of the St. John's Ambulance Brigade in Hong Kong during the Battle of Hong Kong. The Battle of Hong Kong was Canada's first engagement in the Pacific theater of World War II. On a personal note, the 75th anniversary is especially important to me. August 15th marked the 75th anniversary of the National Liberation of Korea, Kwangbokjeol, ending the colonization of Korea after 35 years of oppression under Imperial Japanese rule. My parents are survivors of the oppressive colonialism. So this is a very proud and special day for me as well in my ancestral homeland of Korea. The 75th anniversary led to a new beginning for Asians in BC and across Canada who fought for their Canadian citizenship and the right to vote. Through the hard work and participation of St. John's Ambulance volunteers, the Chinese Canadian Women's Ambulance Corps, and the legendary Chinese Canadian soldiers of Force 136, this would become reality in short time in 1947. Notable of those that fought in the Pacific was the first Chinese Canadian MP ever elected, Douglas Cheung, a personal hero of mine. I have Canadian citizenship and the right to vote because of Douglas Cheung and his compatriots of World War II and those who served with St. John's Ambulance. I want to recognize these veterans and those that have made it possible for me and my family to live in a prosperous and peaceful nation, and the privilege to now serve in the Senate of Canada. 75 years later, we are in an unprecedented time. We live in new normals, and what we did before might not work today. But St. John's Ambulance has been there every step of the way in the past, present, and future. You are resilient and will continue to be. God bless you and your families. God bless St. John's Ambulance, and God bless Canada.
This year we mark the 75th anniversary of the end of the Second World War. And while we collectively fight a different battle, I know Canadians from coast to coast to coast are still taking the time to reflect on the service and sacrifice of the brave members of our Canadian Armed Forces who fought in Europe and in Asia. And I want to thank St. John's Ambulance for honoring two such veterans who served in the Second World War and who have continued to serve in their communities, like Miss Peggy Lee, who did so much to pave the way for future Canadians, not only through her service during the Second World War as the youngest member of the Women's Ambulance Corps, but also through her social advocacy, steadfast dedication, and desire to create a more just and inclusive Canada. And also to Dr. Botin Chuk, who served as an ambulance attendant and is one of the only surviving St. John's Ambulance veterans from the Battle of Hong Kong. He came to Canada after and continued his service to our community through St. John's Ambulance. His efforts is a true testament of his perseverance and dedication. Today, as we reflect on the service of these individuals and the substantial impact they made in Vancouver and to Canada, I know that Canada would not be the same without you. Thank you for your service.
Honorary Brigade Division President Richard Liu, St. John Ambulance Brigade members, government representatives of Burnaby, Mesdames et Messieurs, good evening, bonsoir, 大家好。雖然我今日未能夠親身見到大家，但係我好榮幸可以透過呢個活動同大家打招呼，同埋講幾句説話。The COVID-19 pandemic is one of the most significant challenges the world has faced in our lifetime. Yet we are all fighting hard together to build resilience and stay positive. St. John Ambulance members are playing a significant role in spreading kindness and love in the local community, just like the Canadian SJA members who provided assistance to war victims with dedication and resilience 75 years ago. Le 2 septembre est la 75e anniversaire de la fin de la Seconde Guerre mondiale en 1945. During World War II, more than 1 million Canadians and Newfoundlanders served in the military, including the 1,975 Canadian soldiers who fought in the Battle of Hong Kong. Cette bataille fait partie non seulement de l'histoire de Hong Kong, mais aussi de l'histoire canadienne. Over 550 Canadians gave their lives in defense of the territory in December 1941. And the Sea Force of the Battle of Hong Kong was the first Canadian Army unit to engage in combat in World War II. They were also the last to return home. Japan began the process of surrendering in August 1945. Lieutenant Commander William King Loudlore, the first Chinese-Canadian naval officer, led his troops to secure the release of the Canadian prisoners of war from the Sham Shui Po concentration camp. Here in Hong Kong, we have held the Canadian commemorative ceremony at the Commonwealth War Graves Commission Saiwan War Cemetery every year since 1947 to remember the Canadians who joined Allied and local forces in fighting courageously against overwhelming odds. All of us working for the Government of Canada here are so touched and grateful to see so many people of all generations attend our annual ceremony, year after year. 我哋所有喺香港工作嘅傭工，每一年見到有咁多加拿大人、香港人、其他英聯邦同埋同盟國代表嘅朋友、老師、家長、學生出席我哋舉辦嘅儀式，覺得好感動同感激。This shared history is a precious bond connecting Canada and Hong Kong to this day. Canada remembers. Hong Kong remembers. Nous nous souviendrons d'eux. 我哋會永遠懷念嘅。Today, I would also like to share the story of one of the surviving World War II St. John Ambulance veterans who participated in the Battle of Hong Kong. Dr. Po Tin Chak was a teenager when he joined the St. John Ambulance Brigade of Hong Kong in 1937 with the South China Athletic Association Division, and was subsequently transferred to the military division of the brigade attached to the Royal Army Medical Corps. During the Battle of Hong Kong, only 18 years old at the time, the young Chak was supposed to drive some wounded to a field hospital at St. Stephen's College, but he ended up going to Fort Stanley instead. That miscalculation saved his life that day, as the invading army stormed St. Stephen's College hours before the surrender and murdered the defenseless medical staff, patients, and civilians in the war atrocity that became known as the St. Stephen's College Massacre. The following day, Chak went to the college to seek the wounded, but instead became one of the few who witnessed the aftermath on the bloodstained campus. He was formally captured by the Japanese and was interned as a prisoner of war at the Sham Shui Po concentration camp. During that Battle of Hong Kong, St. John Ambulance lost 55 of its members. Chak was released nearly a year later due to his non-combatant status. After the end of World War II, he received the insignia of Serving Brother of the Order of St. John of Jerusalem at an investiture at Government House in Hong Kong on January 20th, 1949. Dr. Po Tin Chak eventually became a medical surgeon and moved his family to Vancouver in the 1980s, where he continued to take part in various events commemorating the Second World War and those who served. On behalf of all 150 of us at the Consulate-General of Canada in Hong Kong, I offer my congratulations to Dr. Chak and to Peggy Lee, the 2 surviving World War II St. John Ambulance veterans who will be receiving the Second World War tribute from Veterans Affairs Canada. Thank you for your service. Merci de votre service. Doje ne de gonghin. Lest we forget.
Hello, my name is Nicole Davison and I'm the British Consul-General based in Vancouver, representing the United Kingdom in British Columbia, Yukon and the Northwest Territories. This year marks the 75th anniversary of the end of the Second World War. We would not be standing here today had it not been for the outstanding bravery of so many men and women at a time that really called on the deepest reserves of human strength. I'd particularly like to pay tribute to the volunteers of St. John's Ambulance, an organisation that can always be counted on to be at people's sides, particularly in difficult times. It was under the leadership of Superintendent-in-Chief Kathleen Gilmore that the St. John Ambulance Brigade of Canada opened their overseas headquarters in London during the war. Hundreds of volunteers from Canada served in over 30 hospitals across the UK during the Second World War. Canada and the UK have always been the closest of friends and have stood together in the most trying times. Today, as we face new challenges, that friendship continues to endure. Together, we will continue to stand strong and be a force for good. On behalf of the British High Commission in Ottawa and Her Majesty's Government, I would like to thank the volunteers of St. John's Ambulance Canada, and particularly those who stood by our side in World War II, for your service.
Bonjour à tous. It's an honor for me to join you today. We will never forget what has been accomplished for our peace and security. We will never forget all the soldiers from all the communities in Canada and especially from here in British Columbia, killed on the European continent for our freedom. On behalf of the French government and the French citizens, I humbly express my deepest gratitude for what the Canadians did for us, and I pay tribute to those who made sacrifice for our countries. We were, we are, and we will continue to be allies. In honoring the courage, service, and memory of British Columbian and Canadian soldiers, we also preserve veterans' legacy for the future generations. Since my assignment here in Vancouver in 2017, I had the privilege to bestow upon several veterans the Légion d'honneur, the French highest distinction. I will never forget these very emotional moments. Remembrance is key, In the same time, we have to go further. Speaking about the present and to prepare a better future, I would like to highlight our shared responsibility to strengthen our common values at all levels, as we are doing with our military partnership and our solidarity between us. In September 2020, we celebrate the 75th anniversary of the United Nations. We reaffirm the principles and values that oversaw its creation. The rule of law rather than force, consultation rather than confrontation, cooperation rather than everyone for himself, and of course, the universality of human rights. These values, these key values, saved our world from the worst tragedies of the last century. For 75 years, they served as a compass for us. I'm convinced they still have the strength to guide us today and tomorrow. Let's continue each day to stand for peace. Merci à tous de votre engagement.
Hi, my name is Henk Sloek and I'm Consul-General for the Netherlands in Vancouver. It is a few days ago that we celebrated VG Day, the official end of the Second World War. Still, I am thinking every day of the young boys that left Canada for Europe 75 years ago. Boys, a lot of them not even 20, left for a long train and boat trip to the other side of the Atlantic, and over there harsh fights were awaiting them. The Netherlands is eternally grateful to the Allied soldiers that fought against the Nazi troops. And we are in particular very thankful to Canada, whose sons and daughters took such a big part in the liberation of the Netherlands. And like so many other army units, the St. John Ambulance has taken part in this war. With respect and gratefulness, I am greeting the leadership, the members, and the veterans of St. John's. This year we are indeed celebrating the 75th anniversary of the liberation. Due to COVID-19, with less events than we hoped, but the more the celebration and the commemoration resonated in the hearts and the minds of the Dutch this year. We are celebrating the end of the war. We are commemorating the sacrifices. We mourn with the families of those who passed away. And we celebrate that we have cooperated shoulder to shoulder to promote 75 years the rule of order and to promote peace in both of our countries. Let's not forget.
Congratulations to both Peggy Lee and Dr. Potin Chak, who received the Second World War tributes from Veterans Affairs Canada. Our division have been planning to present these to them back in April at our annual inspection. But as you know, the pandemic threw us all for a curveball. However, with this ceremony, it's like hitting a home run as we had a chance to reflect, storytell, involve a larger and wider audience, and to hear from some of the amazing speakers from as far away as Hong Kong, China. Well, closer to home, I would like to now invite the Honourable Katrina Chen, BC's Minister of State for Childcare, to say a few words on behalf of the provincial government.
Hi there, this is Katrina Chen. I am sorry, I don't know if you can see me on the video because I cannot see myself, but I'm running around in the community today here in Burnaby, but also want to bring greetings on behalf of the provincial government, Premier John Horgan, and my provincial colleagues to thank St. John Ambulance for bringing everybody together for such an important occasion, especially on the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II. I think it is important that we remember the past of what has happened so we can move on to make sure that we've learned from all the lessons and the learnings that we've had to be able to build a new beginning and a better future for our future generations. And especially during this very challenging time as we are really trying to find a new way moving forward throughout this pandemic, that we have to come together even more to make sure we support each other, we find the common grounds, we stay calm and kind to each other to ensure that we can go through this tough time. So I want to give my sincere appreciation to all the volunteers, all the organizers of St. John Ambulance on this special occasion, and I want to thank everybody to participate in this very important event. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Chen, for the wonderful message. We will now hear from His Worship Mayor of Burnaby, Mike Hurley, who is giving his remarks from the Burnaby South High School Cenotaph and Memorial Tennis Courts, which is a heritage site here in Burnaby that was dedicated after the war in 1948 to honor the 51 students that made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Followed by President and Vice-Chancellor of the University of British Columbia, Professor Santa Ono, who is beaming in from Norman Mackenzie House at UBC to say a few words on the effects of World War II on all their students.
On this day, 75 years ago, the deadliest conflict in human history came to an end. More than 1,800 Burnaby residents served in World War II. At least 160 of those brave men and women lost their lives defending peace and freedom during the war. During these difficult times, our country and our community proved to be resilient, steadfast, and united in their hope for a brighter future. The sacrifices of our veterans enabled us to build a more caring, compassionate, and equitable community in the 75 years since the war concluded. We face different challenges today, but in uncertain times, we should draw inspiration from our past and reflect on the power that comes from working together for a greater good. We see these values reflected in the work that St. John Ambulance does in our community, from providing first aid and training and emergency response support to the invaluable community service programs which improve the quality of life for people confined to healthcare facilities. On behalf of the City of Burnaby, thank you to the St. John Ambulance Burnaby Division for providing us the opportunity to commemorate this important anniversary, lest we forget.
Dear friends, I'm deeply honored to address the St. John's Ambulance Society on this, the 75th anniversary of the end of the Second World War. Many doctors and nurses start their journey with St. John's Ambulance, and many continue volunteering during their time in university and even after graduation. UBC students, faculty, and staff played their part in the war. More than 1,600 UBC trainees enlisted to serve in the war. Some of them never returned. The war affected UBC in other ways as well. An estimated 76 UBC students of Japanese descent had their studies disrupted when, in 1942, 21,000 Japanese Canadians were forced to leave the West Coast, their homes, and were sent to internment camps. 75 years ago, at the war's end, UBC welcomed an influx of veterans and provided them with personal and vocational counseling. Today, we continue to support our veterans through the Veterans Transition Program, a group-based program which helps men and women returning from military service transition to productive civilian life. We thank our many veterans for their service and sacrifice. As I thank you, the members of the St. John's Ambulance Society, for yours. Best wishes.
Well, thank you, Mayor Hurley and President Santaono for your remarks. On behalf of Superintendent Chow and Superintendent Froment and our Burnaby Division team members, a big thank you to all our community leaders, government representatives, and to our Consul-General in Canada, from Canada in Hong Kong, and the Consul-General is based in Vancouver representing the UK, France, and the Netherlands for those meaningful messages, wishes, and tributes. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. We'd like now to invite our Provincial Commissioner, David Valentine, to make closing remarks. Sir.
Thanks, Richard. Good evening, distinguished guests, cadets, and volunteers. As we celebrate 75 years since the Japanese surrender on board the USS Missouri, we take a few minutes to remember those that gave their all so that we might enjoy the life that we enjoy today. Granted, 2020 has been a year of disappointments and frustrations for many organizations, families, and citizens around the world. Please allow me to put it in perspective. 80 years ago, the youth of the world, like Dr. Po-Tin Chuck and Mrs. Peggy Lee, were in their late teens, as were my own parents. The next 5 years would see them lose that childhood of youth as they experienced all the horrors and atrocities of war. However, they had the resolve and the fortitude to serve, knowing that their lives could end at any time. They are legends of our motto, pro fide, pro ulitate hominum, in faith for the service of humanity. And these two individuals have done that. So I salute these wonderful, dedicated individuals for living up to the motto of St. John. And in parting, I remind you all, COVID too will pass, as did the wars and other worldwide pandemics that we have had in the past. So be safe, and I thank you all for your service, and especially Dr. Po-Tin and Mrs. Peggy Lee, lest we forget.
One St. John.
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 One St. John. One St. John.
One St. John.
One St. John.
One St. John.
One St. John.
One St. John.
One St. John.
One St. John. One St. John.
One St. John.
One St. John.
One St. John.
One St. John.
One St. John.
One St. John. One St. John.
One St. John.
Thank you everyone for joining us this evening. This ends our formal part of the broadcast, and we will now end the Zoom webinar. Thank you for joining us, and have a good evening.
Right. Thank you.